I graduated in history at Oxford University all those years ago. As a child, we were taken by our parents to visit old churches. And so it's something I grew up with, something I was trained to take an interest in. I like to identify with characters, with great characters from the past. It's just something that I was born with, if you like. And I've been incredibly lucky in that for the last certainly 40 years of my life, I've been able to pursue that interest. And it's given me a very enthralling existence. Because one of my problems in setting out, in being a historian of jewellery, is that as I came to it, rather in middle life, I didn't belong to an institution, and I was a complete outsider. And it was very difficult for people to take me seriously, because quite honestly, I knew so little. But I had to learn, and the only way you can learn about a subject is doing a job and getting on with it. I happened to go to Chatsworth after I'd done an exhibition of rings at Oxford, and we'd had borrowed some rings from Chatsworth. So I thought after the exhibition that I'd actually visit Chatsworth and ask to see their collection, which was I think it's 7 objects that were made in the 19th century using some of the best Devonshire cameos and intaglios from their collection. And of course the Duke and Duchess of Devonshire were absolutely wonderful. And when I thanked them for giving me this chance of learning about cameos and intaglios through this marvellous set of cameos in these jewels, they just looked at me. This is so British. But Diana, we think we're so lucky to possess these objects, these wonderful objects, that the very least we can do is share them with people like you. And it was that lovely word, share them with people like you. And of course it opened up a new life for me. Why was Paris, from I think the 14th century, the creative centre for fashion and jewellery? And my view has been, going through those Chaumet archives, as far as the 19th and 20th century is concerned, it comes from the French woman herself. She always wants something new, and the jewellers, if they want to keep in business, they've got to think of something new, a new way of doing something. So that's why French jewellery is never banal. It's always chic, it's always elegant, but it's always different. And that's what that I think makes their greatness. One of the best collections in England is up in Northumberland, belonging to the Duke. He inherited it. Now, who was the collector in the 18th century who assembled this beautiful collection? It was a younger son of the first Duke and Duchess of Northumberland, and he was rather a playboy, only interested in hunting, shooting and fishing and chasing women. And his parents thought, we've got to do something about Algernon, he was called, and they engaged a most wonderful tutor called Mr. Louis Duton. And Mr. Duton was told to take Algernon onto the continent and try and give him an education. He succeeded to such an extent that Algernon became totally besotted with collecting cameos and intaglios as providing the key to a world that he wanted to learn more about. Mr. Duton passed on. He used to go back to Italy, to Rome once a year with his wife and family to acquire more gems. So there you've got the collection of the Duke of Northumberland, assembled by a reformed playboy. Those four, and then downstairs we've got the Earl of Carlisle, we've got his portrait. He had very, very good taste, but he also had depended on Roman dealers. And I have published the correspondence of the Roman dealers with Lord Carlisle, and it amused me. Very Italian, very flattering. They always began, "Mon adorable, mi lord," my adorable lord. Your adorable lordship, I suppose we translate that. So they're all different, but they all had wonderful things, and that's what counts. And I did an exhibition for Japan in, I think it was 2005, precisely on classical gems, that is from Alexander the Great until Napoleon III. And I remember being totally in awe. The ancients had a sense of the exquisite and the beautiful that's incomparable. Although I'm not an archaeologist, as a result of my experience with cameos and intaglios, I can identify the divinities and the heroes and heroines of antiquity. I can recognize some of the great subjects from classical history and mythology, and I can just about tell the difference between the 12 Roman emperors. So it's very useful. It's a very useful little accomplishment. It comes in very, very handy in all kinds of places. And I'm amazed that so few other people seem to be able to do the same, except, of course, professional archaeologists. It's the desire to possess these wonderful things that nobody else has got. You see, if a woman wearing antique jewellery, she's unlikely to find somebody else wearing the same. Another thing, of course, about them is their rarity, because for the cameos it's a very difficult art, and only few people really master it, so they've always been rare. But as for jewels, the survival rate is minimal. Why? Because of fashion. Very few women want to wear Granny's brooch. They want something up to date. Also, jewellery can be fragile, and with wear, the engraving gets rubbed, the enamel gets chipped, the stones drop out. The survival rate is very, very small. I've known the collector for more than 20 years. I think she's the most brilliant woman and has exemplary taste. And what she has done in forming this collection is to acquire jewels which are not only easy to wear, but a joy to look at, as all jewellery should be, but she's assembled a representative collection of jewels which tell the story, and so one can follow the whole development, artistic and social, of that period of history through her collection of jewels. But it's much more than a collection of pretty pictures. It's really a representative history. It's a social document, and so I'm very proud to have been associated with it. But I do know that this lady is a great expert in Chinese furniture. So her taste has been, shall we say, fashioned by her experience of dealing with beautiful Ming Chinese furniture. I mean, I've had to catalogue recently a collection of 1,500 tie pins, and I found it totally fascinating because you've got the whole of 19th and 20th century history revealed to you through this collection. That's what's made my life so exciting, is discovering that.